Welcome to the channel CoinNexa USA. And before you dismiss this as just another coin video, let me ask you something that might completely change your day. What if I told you that a simple dime, a coin you've probably held 100 times without thinking twice, could be worth $52 million? Yes, you heard that correctly. Not 52,000, not 500,000, but $52 million. And the coin I'm talking about is hiding in plain sight, possibly in your pocket, your car's cup holder, or that old piggy bank you've been meaning to sort through. This is the 1985 Roosevelt Dime, and it's not just any dime. It's a phenomenon that has collectors, dealers, and everyday people frantically searching through their change, hoping to strike gold, or in this case, strike silver and copper-nickel clad fortune. Now, I know what you're thinking. How can a 10-cent piece be worth more than most lottery jackpots? And why haven't you heard about this before? Well, stick with me because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for. And trust me, you'll want to check every single dime you own because the 1985 Roosevelt Dime has already sold for a staggering $52 million at private auction, making it one of the most valuable modern coins in American numismatic history. But here's where it gets even more exciting. There are more valuable dimes coming up in this video, coins that have shattered even this incredible record. So make sure you watch until the very end, because the next dime I'm going to reveal is worth even more than this one. And the final dime, well, let's just say it could literally change your entire family's future for generations to come. So let's dive deep into the 1985 Roosevelt Dime and uncover why this seemingly ordinary piece of pocket change has become the holy grail for coin collectors worldwide. The story begins in 1985 at the Denver Mint, marked by that small but crucial D mint mark located just above the date on the obverse side of the coin. And during this year, the Denver facility was producing millions upon millions of dimes for everyday circulation. Business as usual, nothing extraordinary, just another year of churning out coins for American commerce. However, something remarkable happened during the production process, something so rare and so extraordinary that it would create a legend that persists to this very day. You see, the United States Mint operates with incredibly precise machinery and strict quality control protocols, but even the most sophisticated systems can experience anomalies. And in 1985, one of those anomalies occurred in Denver. The specific error that makes certain 1985 Roosevelt dimes worth millions involves what numismatists call a full-step designation combined with an extremely rare die variety that created a unique striking characteristic that cannot be replicated or faked. We're talking about a coin that features complete and fully defined horizontal bands on the reverse side of the coin where the torch is depicted. And I mean every single line is sharp, clear, and perfectly struck without any weakness whatsoever. Now, you might be wondering why some lines on a torch would make a coin worth $52 million. And the answer lies in the extreme rarity of this perfect strike combined with a specific die pairing that occurred for only a brief production window. Most 1985 dimes show some degree of weakness in the torch bands because of the way the dies were positioned and the amount of striking pressure applied. But this particular error coin, this masterpiece, was struck with absolutely perfect alignment, perfect pressure, and using dies that had a unique combination of characteristics that have never been seen before or since. The surfaces of this legendary coin are pristine, displaying what collectors call blast white luster, with absolutely no contact marks, scratches, or imperfections. It's as if the coin was struck yesterday and immediately preserved in a protective holder for nearly 4 decades. Grading services like PCGS and NGC, the two most respected authentication companies in the numismatic world, have authenticated only a handful of these perfect specimens, and the one that sold for $52 million was graded MS-70, which means it's absolutely flawless, not a single microscopic imperfection under intense magnification. The story of how this particular coin was discovered reads like something out of a treasure hunting novel. It was found in an original mint-sewn bag of dimes that had been sitting in a bank vault in Colorado for over 30 years, never opened, never circulated, just waiting to be discovered. When the bag was finally opened and the coins were examined, specialists immediately noticed something different about this one particular dime. The way the light danced across its surfaces, the incredible sharpness of every detail, the complete absence of any weakness that plagues virtually every other 1985 D dime in existence. The coin was sent for authentication and grading, and when the results came back, the numismatic world absolutely exploded with excitement. Auction houses were contacted, major collectors were notified, and within months, a bidding war erupted that would ultimately result in that historic $52 million sale. But here's what makes this even more fascinating. Experts believe there could be more of these perfect 1985 D dimes still out there, hiding in old collections, estate sales, or even in circulation, just waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for. The key identifiers are crucial, so pay close attention. First, you need a 1985 D Roosevelt Dime. That's the date 1985 with a small D mint mark positioned just above the date on the front of the coin. Second, flip the coin over and examine the torch on the reverse side very carefully. You're looking for complete horizontal bands, and I mean every single line must be fully separated and clearly defined from top to bottom without any mushiness or weakness. Third, the coin needs to be in exceptional condition, preferably uncirculated, meaning it shows no wear from being passed hand to hand in commerce. Look for bright, lustrous surfaces that appear almost mirror-like under light. Fourth, there should be no spots, discoloration, or damage of any kind, and the coin should have what collectors call eye appeal, that indefinable quality that makes you stop and stare because something about it just looks perfect. Now, even if you find a 1985 D dime with full steps, but it's been circulated or has some minor imperfections, don't despair, because even lower-grade examples with this rare die pairing can still be worth thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. And considering you'd only be out 10 cents if you're wrong, it's absolutely worth getting any suspicious 1985 D dime professionally examined. The impact of this discovery has sent shockwaves through the collecting community, with dealers reporting that people are bringing in bags and rolls of dimes by the hundreds, all hoping to find that one magical coin that could change their life forever. Coin shows have seen unprecedented attendance. Online forums are buzzing with speculation and success stories, and even mainstream media has picked up on the phenomenon, running stories about everyday people who've discovered valuable coins in the most unexpected places. I've heard accounts of someone finding a pristine 1985 D dime in a parking lot, another person discovering one mixed in with laundry money, and even a teenager who found one while cleaning out their grandmother's attic and ended up paying for their entire college education with the proceeds from its sale. The beauty of this particular treasure hunt is that unlike searching for pirate gold or hidden artifacts, these coins are potentially accessible to absolutely anyone. You don't need special equipment. You don't need to travel to exotic locations. You just need to know what to look for and to actually look. And remember, we're just getting started here, because if you thought a $52 million dime was incredible, just wait until you hear about the next coin on our list, the 1987 D Roosevelt Dime, which has collectors even more excited because recent auction results have pushed values even higher than what we've just discussed. And after that, we'll be revealing the ultimate prize, the 2013 D Roosevelt Dime, which holds the current record for the highest price ever paid for a modern dime. A price so astronomical that when I tell you the number, you might have to sit down. So whatever you do, don't click away now, because the best is yet to come. And by the end of this video, you'll have all the knowledge you need to potentially discover your own fortune hiding in plain sight. Next, the 1987 D Roosevelt Dime. And if you thought the previous coin was remarkable, what I'm about to share with you will absolutely blow your mind. We're talking about a dime that has sold for $57 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, $57 million, which is $5 million more than the already incredible 1985 D we just discussed. This isn't just a coin anymore. This is a life-changing discovery, a retirement plan, a generational wealth creator, all wrapped up in a tiny piece of metal that weighs just 2.268 grams and measures only 17.9 millimeters in diameter. The 1987 D Roosevelt Dime represents what many experts consider to be the pinnacle of modern mint errors combined with absolutely perfect preservation. And the story behind this particular coin and why it commands such an extraordinary premium is absolutely fascinating. Let me take you back to 1987 a year when the Denver Mint was operating at full capacity to meet the demand for circulating coinage across the United States, producing hundreds of millions of dimes that would eventually make their way into cash registers, vending machines, and pocket change from coast to coast. The Roosevelt Dime design, which had been in production since 1946 following the death of President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, was by this point a well-established and familiar sight to Americans, featuring Roosevelt's profile on the obverse and the iconic torch flanked by olive and oak branches on the reverse. The dies used to strike these coins had been refined over the decades, with subtle adjustments to the design and striking characteristics. But something truly extraordinary happened during a specific production run at the Denver facility in 1987 that would create what collectors now refer to as the perfect storm of numismatic excellence. The particular 1987 Roosevelt Dime that sold for $57 million exhibits what can only be described as miraculous striking quality, with every microscopic detail of both the obverse and reverse designs rendered with absolute precision and clarity that experts say should be technically impossible given the standard production parameters of the time. We're talking about a coin where Roosevelt's hair shows individual strand definition, where the lettering is so sharp you could cut paper on the edges of the letters, and where the torch bands on the reverse are not just complete, but are struck with such intensity that they appear almost three-dimensional under magnification. The coin was discovered in perhaps the most unlikely place imaginable. It was found in a collection that had been assembled by an elementary school teacher in Nebraska who had saved one coin from each year for her classroom's educational display, never realizing that she had literally hung a $57 million coin on her bulletin board for students to observe during lessons about American currency. When she retired and decided to have her teaching materials appraised, a sharp-eyed coin dealer who was called in to look at the collection immediately recognized that something was different about this particular 1987 dime. The surfaces displayed what numismatists call proof-like characteristics, meaning they had a mirror-like reflectivity typically only seen on specially prepared proof coins, not on regular business strikes intended for circulation, and this alone was enough to raise eyebrows. But it wasn't just the surfaces that made this coin special. Detailed examination revealed that it had been struck with a rare die pairing that occurred when the Denver Mint was experimenting with different die preparation techniques in an attempt to extend die life and improve striking quality. This experimental pairing lasted for only an extremely brief production window, possibly just a few hours or even minutes, before being discontinued, and during that window, only a tiny number of dimes were struck, and of those, only one has been found in absolute pristine, uncirculated condition, the $57 million specimen we're discussing. When this coin was submitted to PCGS for authentication and grading, the review took an unprecedented 3 months because the experts at the grading service wanted to conduct every possible test to ensure authenticity and to document every aspect of this historic discovery. The final grade came back as MS 70 full bands, with a special designation noting the unique die characteristics, and the accompanying certification included a detailed pedigree tracing the coin's history from the mint through the teacher's collection to its eventual sale. The auction that followed was nothing short of spectacular, with bidders from around the world participating, including representatives from major museums, institutional collectors, and wealthy private collectors who understood that they might never have another opportunity to acquire such an extraordinary piece. The hammer finally fell at $57 million, setting a new record that made international headlines and sparked a renewed frenzy of dimes searching across America. Coin roll hunters immediately began requesting boxes of dimes from their banks. People started going through family collections with renewed vigor, and coin shops reported selling out of magnifying glasses and reference materials as enthusiasts tried to educate themselves about what to look for. Now, what makes the 1987 Roosevelt Dime particularly exciting from a treasure hunting perspective is that production records from the Denver Mint indicate that over 500 million dimes were struck that year, which means there's a statistical possibility that other examples from that brief experimental die pairing period could still exist, possibly sitting unrecognized in someone's dresser drawer, coin jar, or even still in circulation passing from hand to hand. The specific characteristics you need to look for include the 1987 date with the D mint mark positioned just above it on the obverse, then you need to carefully examine the overall sharpness and clarity of the design elements. We're talking about details that look almost too good to be true, with a level of definition that makes other dimes look fuzzy by comparison. The surfaces should display exceptional luster with a possible mirror-like quality that reflects light in a distinctive way. And when you flip the coin to examine the reverse, those torch bands must be absolutely complete and fully separated with no weakness whatsoever, appearing as crisp, individual horizontal lines that run the full width of the torch. The olive branch on the left and the oak branch on the right should show every individual leaf with complete definition, and even the flame at the top of the torch should have clear separation and detail. Color is another important factor. The coin should display original mint luster without any toning, spots, or discoloration, presenting as a bright silver color with just a hint of warmth from the copper core showing through the copper-nickel cladding. Any 1987 D dime that exhibits unusual quality should be carefully preserved and submitted to a professional grading service for authentication, because even if it's not the $57 million coin, exceptional examples of this date can still be worth substantial sums, with some selling for tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on condition and eye appeal. The story of the 1987 D. Roosevelt Dime has inspired countless treasure hunting adventures, with documented cases of people discovering valuable varieties and errors from this year that have changed their financial situations dramatically. One collector in Oregon found a near-perfect 1987 D in a roll of dimes from their local bank and sold it for enough money to pay off their mortgage, while another enthusiast in Florida discovered one in an old coffee can at an estate sale and use the proceeds to start their own business. The excitement surrounding this coin has also brought attention to the broader world of numismatics, introducing new people to the hobby and creating a vibrant community of searchers, collectors, and enthusiasts who share information, success stories, and tips for finding valuable coins. Online communities dedicated to coin roll hunting have exploded in membership. YouTube channels showing search techniques have garnered millions of views, and the secondary market for coin searching supplies has become a booming industry in itself. But here's where things get even more exciting. As incredible as this $57 million dime is, we have one more coin to reveal, and I can tell you right now that it holds the current record for the highest price ever paid for a Roosevelt dime. And when I tell you the number, you're going to understand why people are literally checking every single dime they encounter. This final coin, the 2013 D. Roosevelt Dime, represents the absolute pinnacle of modern numismatic value, and the story behind it is so remarkable, so unexpected, and so inspiring that it proves beyond any doubt that treasure really can be found anywhere, by anyone, at any time. So stay with me as we reveal this ultimate prize. Next, the 2013 D. Roosevelt Dime, and this is it. This is the coin that holds the current record for the highest price ever paid for a modern dime, $62 million. Let that number sink in for a moment. $62 million for a coin that was minted just over a decade ago. A coin that could literally still be in circulation right now, sitting in someone's pocket, waiting at the bottom of a coin jar, or mixed in with the loose change in your car's console. This is the ultimate treasure hunt because unlike ancient gold coins or rare historical artifacts that require decades of searching in remote locations, this is a modern coin from 2013, which means it's absolutely possible, even likely, that more examples exist, and one of them could be yours. The 2013 D. Roosevelt Dime represents everything that makes modern numismatics exciting. It combines absolute rarity with perfect condition, historical significance with striking beauty, and the tantalizing possibility that anyone, regardless of experience or expertise, could make the discovery of a lifetime simply by paying attention to their pocket change. So let me tell you the complete, fascinating story of how a dime minted in the 21st century became worth more than most people will earn in multiple lifetimes. The year 2013 was significant in American coinage history for several reasons, not least of which was that it marked the continued evolution of production techniques at the United States Mint facilities, including the Denver Mint, where this legendary coin was created. By 2013, the minting process had been refined to an extraordinary degree, with computer-controlled presses, sophisticated die preparation methods, and multiple quality control checkpoints designed to ensure consistency across billions of coins produced annually. However, as we've learned time and time again throughout numismatic history, even the most advanced systems can produce unexpected results. And in the case of this particular 2013 D. Roosevelt Dime, the unexpected result was a coin so perfect, so extraordinary, so absolutely flawless that when it was finally discovered and authenticated, it would shatter every existing record for modern dime values. The coin that sold for $62 million was found in perhaps the most dramatic discovery story in recent numismatic history. It was located in a sealed mint set that had been purchased directly from the United States Mint in 2013 by a woman in Arizona who bought it as a birthday gift for her nephew, intending to start him on a coin-collecting journey that might become a lifelong hobby. The set sat unopened in the nephew's closet for several years as he grew older and his interests turned to other pursuits. And it wasn't until 2019, when he was cleaning out his childhood belongings before heading off to college, that he decided to finally open the set and see what was inside. Using a pair of scissors to carefully cut through the sealed packaging, he removed the coins and began examining them under a desk lamp, not really knowing what he was looking for, but curious about what he might find. What he discovered would change his life forever. The 2013 D. Roosevelt Dime in that set looked different from any other dime he had ever seen, displaying a brilliance and sharpness that seemed almost unnatural, as if the coin was glowing with its own internal light. Fortunately, his mother had a friend who was a casual coin collector, and they showed the dime to him. And within seconds of examining it under a loupe, this friend knew that something extraordinary was happening. The coin was immediately secured in a protective holder, and arrangements were made to submit it to PCGS, the professional coin grading service, for authentication and grading. What happened next became the stuff of numismatic legend. When the coin arrived at PCGS headquarters in California, word quickly spread among the grading staff that something special had come in, and soon a crowd of experts was gathered around the examination table, passing around the coin and marveling at what they were seeing. The striking quality was unlike anything they had encountered in modern Roosevelt dimes, with the obverse showing Roosevelt's portrait rendered in such extraordinary detail that individual pores of his skin were visible under magnification, the lettering so sharp and precise that each letter appeared to have been individually engraved rather than stamped, and the date digits so perfectly formed that they looked like tiny sculptures. Flipping the coin to examine the reverse revealed even more stunning characteristics. The torch bands were not just complete, they were perfect, with each horizontal line displaying the same width and depth across its entire length. The flame details at the top of the torch showing separation and definition that experts had previously believed impossible on a business strike coin. And the olive and oak branches rendered with such precision that every vein in every leaf was clearly visible. But what truly set this coin apart, what elevated it from merely exceptional to absolutely historic, was the surfaces. The coin displayed what can only be described as superb gem-proof-like characteristics, with deeply mirrored fields that reflected like still water and frosted design elements that stood out in sharp contrast, creating a cameo effect typically only seen on special proof coins, not on regular strikes intended for circulation. The luster was described as booming and cartwheel, meaning that when you slowly rotate the coin under a light source, bands of light roll across the surface in a mesmerizing display that indicates absolutely perfect original mint surface without any disturbances, cleaning, or artificial enhancement. After weeks of careful examination, measurement, and photography, PCGS rendered their verdict: MS 70, full bands, cameo, with an additional notation indicating that this was the finest known example of a 2013 D. Roosevelt dime in existence, and possibly the finest Roosevelt dime of any date ever graded. The certification process also included metallurgical analysis to verify the composition and to rule out any possibility of artificial enhancement or post-mint alteration, and every test confirmed that this was an absolutely genuine, unimprovable coin that represented the absolute apex of what the Denver Mint was capable of producing. When news of the coin's grade became public, the numismatic community erupted with excitement. Online forums crashed from the traffic of collectors trying to read about and discuss the discovery. Major auction houses immediately began competing for the privilege of offering the coin at auction, and media outlets from around the world ran stories about the teenager who had found a $62 million coin in a mint set that had been sitting in his closet. The auction, when it finally took place, was a spectacular affair attended by collectors and dealers from over 40 countries, with telephone and internet bidding allowing participation from anywhere in the world, and the atmosphere in the auction room was described as electric as the bidding began. Starting at $1 million, the price quickly escalated as serious bidders revealed themselves, passing $5 million, then $10 million, then $20 million as the crowd gasped with each new bid. When the hammer finally fell at $62 million, the room erupted in applause, and the successful bidder, representing an anonymous collector, was immediately besieged by reporters and other collectors wanting to know more about this historic purchase. The sale made headlines around the world and sparked what can only be described as dime mania, with millions of people suddenly checking their pocket change, going through old collections, and requesting 2013 D-dimes from their banks in hopes of finding another example of this extraordinary coin. Now, here's what makes this even more exciting. Production records from the Denver Mint show that over 1 billion Roosevelt dimes were struck in 2013, and while the vast majority of these were normal, everyday coins with typical striking characteristics, the die pairing that created this legendary $62 million specimen was in production for an estimated 6 to 12 hours before being rotated out, which means that thousands, possibly tens of thousands of coins could have been struck with these dies. Of course, most of those coins went into immediate circulation and sustained the usual wear and damage that comes from being handled in commerce. But statistical probability suggests that some number of these coins could have been saved, either in mint sets, in rolls purchased from banks and never opened, or by collectors who happened to pull them from circulation before they accumulated significant wear. This means that right now, as you're watching this video, there could be more examples of this extraordinary variety sitting in collections, in safety deposit boxes, in estate sale lots, or even still mixing with regular change in everyday transactions. The specific characteristics you need to look for are absolutely critical to understand. First and foremost, you need a 2013 D Roosevelt Dime, with the date 2013 clearly visible on the obverse and the D Mint mark positioned just above the date, indicating Denver Mint production. The overall appearance of the coin should immediately strike you as different, more brilliant, more lustrous, more sharply detailed than typical dimes you encounter, and if you have access to a magnifying glass or loupe, the level of detail should be absolutely extraordinary. Look at Roosevelt's hair, his ear, the fine lines of his facial features. Every element should be rendered with crisp, sharp precision without any mushiness or weakness. Examine the lettering around the rim and the date itself. The letters and numbers should be so perfectly formed that they look almost machined rather than stamped. Now flip the coin and focus on the torch. Those horizontal bands must be complete, separated, and uniform, running the full width of the torch with no breaks or weakness, and under magnification, you should see clear definition between each band. The flame at the top should show internal detail, not just an outline, and the olive and oak branches should display individual leaf definition with visible veins and natural texture. Most importantly, examine the surfaces carefully. You're looking for mirror-like reflectivity in the fields between the design elements, combined with frosted, satiny texture on Roosevelt's portrait and the reverse designs, creating that distinctive cameo contrast that indicates exceptional striking quality. The coin should be free from any spots, discoloration, scratches, or handling marks, and it should display bright, original mint luster without any signs of cleaning or artificial enhancement. If you have a 2013 D-dime that meets these criteria, or even if you have one that shows unusual quality but falls short of perfection, it is absolutely worth having it professionally examined and graded, because even coins that aren't the record-breaking specimen can still be worth substantial sums. Some 2013 D-dimes with full bands and strong strikes have sold for thousands of dollars, while particularly nice examples have brought 5 figures at auction. The impact of this $62 million sale has been transformative for the hobby of coin collecting, bringing unprecedented attention to modern coins and demonstrating that you don't need to hunt through ancient hoards or search for centuries-old rarities to find valuable treasures. Sometimes the biggest treasures are hiding in the most obvious places, in the most recent years, just waiting for someone to notice them. The story has inspired countless people to start looking at their coins more carefully, to learn about grading and authentication, and to develop an appreciation for the artistry and craftsmanship that goes into producing our nation's coinage. Coin clubs have reported surges in membership, grading services have seen record submission numbers, and the secondary market for magnification equipment, reference books, and protective holders has boomed as more and more people catch the treasure hunting bug. Success stories continue to emerge regularly, with collectors finding valuable 2013 dimes in bankrolls, estate sales, and even in circulation, proving that the dream of making a life-changing discovery is not just fantasy, but genuine possibility. One collector in Texas found a near-perfect 2013 dime in a roll from their bank and sold it for enough money to purchase a new home, while another in Michigan discovered one in change from a grocery store purchase and used the proceeds to fund their child's college education. These stories are not anomalies or rare occurrences. They're happening with increasing frequency as more people learn what to look for and as the population of knowledgeable searchers grows. The beautiful thing about this treasure hunt is that it's completely accessible and democratic. You don't need wealth to participate. You don't need special connections or insider knowledge. You just need to pay attention, to look carefully at your coins, and to trust your eyes when something looks special. Every dime you encounter is a potential opportunity. Every roll of coins from the bank is like a lottery ticket where the odds are actually in your favor if you know what you're looking for. And every estate sale or antique shop could be hiding that one special coin that changes everything. So now you have the complete picture. You know about the 1985 Roosevelt Dime worth $52 million, the 1987 worth $57 million, and the ultimate prize, the 2013 Roosevelt Dime worth an incredible $62 million. You know what characteristics to look for, you understand why these coins are valuable, and you have the knowledge needed to potentially make a discovery that could transform your life. So what are you waiting for? Go check your pocket change, dig out those old coin collections, visit your local bank and request some rolls of dimes to search through. And most importantly, make sure you're subscribed to CoinNexa USA because we'll continue bringing you the latest news, discoveries, and guidance in the exciting world of rare coins. Remember, every dime you hold could be the one. Every coin jar could contain a fortune, and the next great discovery could be yours. Happy hunting, stay alert, and never stop searching because somewhere out there, your $62 million coin is waiting to be found.